A black family's summer vacation takes a dark turn when two local cops set their sights on the mother and her young son at a park. To the officers, they looked like easy prey, just a mother and child, alone and outnumbered. But what they didn't realize was that the boy's father wasn't just any man. He was a seasoned FBI agent, trained to fight for justice. And when the intimidation reached its peak, he was ready to prove that they had targeted the wrong family. The confrontation escalated into a moment of truth. Two officers convinced of their authority, and one father unwilling to let fear define his family's story. Before we dive into this suspenseful story, drop a comment with your city so we can see how far it reaches. And if you enjoy the video, don't forget to subscribe my channel. It was supposed to be just another ordinary day at the park. Families were gathered, children's laughter filled the air, and the sun spilled warmth across the open fields. Yet beneath the calm surface, something was about to unfold. Something that would shatter the peace and reveal a darker truth about the world we live in. She was there simply to enjoy a moment with her young son. No crime, no wrongdoing. Just a mother giving her child the freedom to run and play. But while her son's laughter echoed across the playground, a different set of eyes had locked onto them. Two officers, circling, watching, whispering among themselves. To them, she wasn't just another mother. She was suspicious. And, in their eyes, suspicion was enough. What began as a day of innocence was about to spiral into a nightmare she could never have imagined. Because while the world around them kept moving, her life, and her son's, was about to collide with arrogance, prejudice, and power. What these officers didn't know, however, was that this family carried a truth that would flip the script entirely. Because the man waiting to pick them up wasn't just her husband. He was someone trained, seasoned, and ready for justice. This was no ordinary family, and targeting them would become a mistake the officers would never forget. She was a devoted mother, soft-spoken, hard-working, the kind of woman who always put her family first. Weekends at the park were her escape, a chance to step away from long hours at work and give her little boy the gift of carefree joy. Her son, barely 8, wore a smile that could light up even the cloudiest day. He loved racing down slides, swinging as high as he could, and asking endless questions about the world. That day, the sun was bright, the park alive with families, picnics, and chatter. On the surface, it was perfect. But subtle details hinted at what was coming. A patrol car parked just a little too long near the lot. Two officers walking slowly, eyes fixed not on the playground as a whole, but on her. She felt it before she even understood it. The kind of stare that weighed heavy, that made the hairs on the back of her neck rise. She brushed it off at first, unwilling to let fear steal the moment. But something inside her whispered, this wasn't ordinary. And she was right, because these men weren't just passing by. They had already decided. This mother didn't belong here, and soon their suspicions would turn into confrontation. The sound of boots crunching against gravel grew louder. The mother's smile faltered, her hand instinctively tightening around her son's. She turned, only to find two uniformed officers standing far too close. Their expressions carried a cold authority, but underneath, a spark of something more dangerous. Arrogance laced with prejudice. Just routine, they might have claimed. But routine didn't look like this. Routine didn't corner a mother in front of her child. Routine didn't start with suspicion based on nothing more than skin color. The officers circled, asking pointed questions with sharp undertones. Why was she here? Did she live nearby? Was she watching someone else's child? Each word dripped with accusation, painting her as an intruder in a place where countless other families enjoyed the day without question. Her son, wide-eyed and confused, clutched at her side, his laughter silenced. Around them, other parents shifted uneasily. Some watched, some turned away. The silence of bystanders weighed heavy, amplifying the tension. With each moment, the officers pushed harder, their intimidation escalating. They didn't see a family. They saw a target. What they didn't know, what they couldn't imagine, was that their actions were pushing this story toward a breaking point. Because somewhere nearby, her husband was on his way, and the truth of who he was would change everything. The moment reached its peak when one of the officers stepped forward, hand hovering near his holster. The mother's heart pounded, every instinct screaming to protect her child. Her son clung to her, his small voice trembling as he asked if everything was okay. But nothing about this was okay. The officer's tone grew sharper, his words harsher. They demanded compliance for rules she had never broken. In their eyes, she was already guilty. Her presence alone enough for suspicion. Fear wrapped itself around her, but she stood tall, unwilling to let them see her break. Then, just as the tension threatened to snap, a voice cut through the chaos, deep, commanding, controlled. It was her husband. He walked into the scene with calm authority, every step radiating quiet strength. But this was no ordinary man. He was a seasoned FBI agent. He had spent years training for justice, fighting against the very arrogance now standing before him. In an instant, the balance shifted. The officers, once so confident, faltered as recognition dawned. This wasn't a vulnerable family they could corner. This was a family armed with truth, with dignity, and with someone who knew exactly how to hold power accountable. The officers had crossed a line, and now they would feel the weight of their mistake. The confrontation ended without violence, but not without consequence. The mother gathered her son, her hands still trembling, while her husband stood unwavering, his presence alone a shield against the injustice that had nearly consumed them. The officers backed away, their arrogance cracked, their authority exposed as fragile when faced with real strength. But the damage had been done. A day meant for peace had been tainted with fear, humiliation, and the reminder of a truth too many families know: that innocence is not always enough when prejudice decides otherwise. For this family, the incident became more than just a moment. It was a reflection of a larger reality, a reality where countless others don't have an FBI agent to step in, where countless mothers and children face suspicion, intimidation, and worse, without protection. And that's the weight of this story. It's not just about one family at a park. It's about a society where bias can strip away safety in seconds. So the question we're left with is this: how many more times must these stories unfold before the world finally learns? And when it does, will we be ready to change it?